If you're wondering why I'm standing next to a car, that's because I'm going to be reviewing this 2017 Kia Niro for my special episode for today. Now I know that this is a motorcycle channel, I don't drive cars, but the thing is that I don't really get a lot of chances to actually drive a car. So when I get a chance to drive a car, I will drive a car. The Kia Niro is powered by a 1.6-litre inline-4 Hyundai Kappa III engine that produces about 104 horsepower, and of course, being a hybrid, it also has an electric motor capable of putting out 43 horsepower in charge of lower speed movement. There is a veritable suite of driving aids on board in the form of an adaptive cruise control, blind spot detection, electric stability control, and hill start assist. Hell, it even comes with a sunroof. But the thing is, how does it drive? So the first thing that you notice when you enter this car is, you notice anything? Yeah, you hear nothing. You don't even hear the engine. All you're hearing is the sound of the tires rolling on the road. Now this is not a bad thing. For some people, for most people in fact, having no engine sound is great. It's a family car, you want to be talking with your family members inside the car and you don't want the sound of the engine to be annoying your conversation. So to some, yes, that's great, but for somebody like me who would really like to enjoy driving, the sound of an engine is really an important aspect to the beauty of a car. Now the seats are comfortable, cabin is spacious. I think this being a crossover SUV, it kind of has a pretty long wheelbase, a longer cabin. So if the seats are actually very comfortable in this car. There's a lot of leg room, even for an entire family of 4 sitting inside the car itself, which is great. And there is a 5-inch display to your side that doubles as a reverse screen. The buttons are pretty simple to operate. They are pretty obvious what each individual button is supposed to do. Is an amazing thing. And the aircon in this car is also commendable for having not only the aircon in the front for the driver and the passenger at the side, but also for your rear passengers. So at the rear there is an air condition as well. The problem is that for the air condition in the rear, the fan is a bit weaker. It's not that great. So if you are driving on a hot day and the car has just started and it's really hot in the cabin and you run the car up to get your kids at the back feeling comfortable, it's going to require you turning up the aircon in the front really high, and this is the reason why I think this whole aircon in front and back is just more hyped up than it actually is. It's not that great, honestly speaking. I'm freezing my hands off just to cool the back, even though there's nobody at the back right now, but just to show you that when you want to cool the back down, you have to freeze in the front, which kind of sucks. Not that it sucks in Singapore, because Singapore is hot most of the time. Most of you really enjoy the cold, but personally I'd rather have a bit more you know, stability in the temperature. I don't like it a bit too cold for me. Now the driver's display is pretty informative. I like the 5-inch the 4.7-inch display at the front here. The driver's display. It shows you most of the standard things that you would expect from a driver's display. You've got your speedo, of course, but other than that, you also get to see the what do you call that? Your fuel economy. So it gives you a live feed of what your current fuel consumption is, how much in terms of kilometers per liter you're getting out of your drive. It's also got your battery level. It shows the battery level, which is great. Especially on a hybrid like this, battery levels are really important. They could be the difference between life and death when your car gets stuck out there. So the fact that it has a battery reading on the dash is something that I appreciate having. The thing I do not appreciate is how it does not have a real rev counter, a real tachometer. The thing is, this isn't a sport car, so having a rev counter may not be very useful. It may be kind of pointless in a utility vehicle like the Kia Niro, but having one sometimes is great to have, because the engine is really soft. If you ever develop problems with the engine in future, having a rev counter showing you how much the engine is revving for the particular speed you're traveling at is probably something that you might want to have, especially when you suffer things like dead cylinders and so on and so forth. They are a very good way for you as a driver to tell that there is something wrong with your engine, considering how silent it is. The Niro also has a key, I don't know how you call it, QI. Basically, it has a Qi compatible wireless charger right beside your driver's dash thingy, where your shifter is. I mean your whatever that thing is called nowadays. There's one there. Not that it matters to me, considering that I am still using an iPhone 6s that is unable to use the wireless charger, but it's a great feature to have. Although if you ask me, that space isn't big enough for some of the larger phones. It can probably fit your iPhone 10 or your iPhone 8 Plus. There may be some smaller Galaxies. I'm not even sure it can fit a Galaxy S8. It's quite small. It might fit, but the thing is, I don't use a Samsung, so I'm not very sure. But it may fit. Just that don't expect to fit a huge ass tablet phone there on that wireless port. Now, driving wise, the Kia Niro has a 6-speed dual clutch transmission system. Now, the DCT has been making a lot of headway on many cars nowadays. Many cars have it, and I think it's a good transmission system to have. What I like about it is that it allows your car to have a better takeoff response, at least. So from traffic to traffic in the city, it's a great transmission to have on the Kia Niro, considering that the Kia Niro has always been meant for city driving. So it's a great transmission system to have. However, if you're going to take your Kia Niro up to places like Malaysia on a long drive, it can be a bit herky-jerky compared to a good CVT system. Also, having the engine at the front and the battery at the back for the electric motor, because the front doesn't have any space for the battery. So they've got to split it up somehow. So that huge ass battery is sitting in your boot. That battery at the boot takes up space. So you'll realize that compared to some other fully petrol engine crossover SUVs that you are going to find on the market, there's not a lot of boot space at the back. But it's not exactly a bad thing either. The battery weighs down the back, and then with the engine in front, this means the weight is spread out quite consistently along the entire body of the car. What this does is it makes handling a lot better. It makes handling easier, smoother, and when you are making direction changes, it's very smooth from left to right. It's a great layout in general. That said, the steering on this thing is not something I like. I come from a motorcycle background. I like riding manual motorcycles where you feel everything through the front shocks, your front forks, through your front tires, onto your handlebars. But on the Kia Niro, the steering on this is too smooth, it's too artificial. You don't feel any feedback from the road. It assists you too much. It feels fake. It's I don't know, if you are a driver that comes from a sport car background, this feels a bit off. When you're trying to make a turn fast, you can't tell how much steering you need to put into your arms because there's not enough feedback. Now, as I've said, the car is really great. It's got very good handling. I think it's got pretty good acceleration. But the thing is, the Kia Niro has absolutely garbage brakes. Garbage! You can't imagine how much I hate the brakes on this. I've driven a Stream, I've driven Toyota Corollas, I've driven Nissan Sunnies. They are all commuter cars. I'm not expecting great brakes, but the brakes on the Niro is utter garbage. It's spongy as hell. It has no bite to it. Okay, so when you're trying to stop the car, you realize that you're pressing, and you get no feedback until you just smash the brakes in, and then you finally feel the car actually start to pull and brake. So safety wise, this is a failure considering that it's supposed to be a utility vehicle. I thought the brakes would be slightly better than this. It's spongy, doesn't feel great to brake on this thing, especially when you're trying to slow down fast for a proper turn. I like the car for one thing and one thing only, and that's the fuel consumption. Now you will notice that I live in Singapore, and even then I hardly go out into Malaysia for a long drive. So most of my driving is short distances in the city, in stop and go traffic. So this is the worst possible kind of driving you can do to maintain good fuel economy. On the Kia Niro, even in the kind of driving I'm doing, I'm still getting 20 kilometers per liter. The few times that I've taken the car out on longer drives like this one where I'm consistently on the expressway and driving non-stop, I could get closer to 25 to 27 kilometers per liter. So this is a very gas-sipping car. It's going to save you a lot of gas, and I guess it's partially attributed to the fact that it's a hybrid so most of the start-stop load is being handled by electric motor. And this is a great figure compared to so many petrol-only cars. I think only the Prius is probably able to top it off with like 30 kilometers per liter, but that's another story. Even my motorcycle, albeit it's a sport bike, so it's not meant to save gas, even my Kawasaki ZX6R is getting like 13 to 15 kilometers per liter, 15 at best. So it's even better than a motorcycle that has a better power to weight ratio than this car. That said, this is a fun little family sedan. It's not a sedan, it's a crossover SUV. It's great for the family, not so great for anybody who is buying it as a second car to enjoy a weekend drive. There are many non-sport cars out there that are actually very good at the job of being a fun second car to drive. There are small, petrol only, but the Kia Niro is not one of them. This is a purely utility vehicle. I would never use it for anything other than just ferrying people back and forth and lugging stuff around with its, I guess it's still got a rather spacious boot despite the battery taking up space. So I definitely use it for that. So if you enjoyed this video, do remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you would like to support this channel, links are in the description below. And of course, remember to subscribe for, I don't think I'll have a lot of car videos, but if you like motorcycles, of course, hit the subscribe button to get more motorcycle videos from me in future, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.